Well, it's Randy Gardner here, and I haven't done another one of my violin repair things ever. I did the one a long time ago where I restored that Neuner and Hornsteiner 1883, and I've not done another one since. But an elderly gentleman gave me a number of violins, and this is one of them, and I find it, this piece is missing, I don't care. What happened with this instrument when I got it, a mouse literally had chewed its way into through one of the F holes and gotten into the inside and actually built a nest in here. And show you the extent of it, he got hungry and he chewed the bass bar. This instrument has been around a long, long time, and it's had some pretty good care. These diamond patches are indication that somebody cared enough about it to really do a major patch up. This is not a sound post crack. This is over on the bass side, but you know, they've done a big patch back here. I think this was done by two different people. These little diamonds show that somebody was pretty careful about what they're doing. Anyway, sad. It was really sad. And I looked for a top to see if I had one of my old violins that I could replace the top, because the rest of this instrument is pretty nice stuff. I mean, the curly maple in the sides and the back. At one time, this was a decent instrument, and it's really sad that it should come to this end. But I can't put any more work into this. However, along with this particular instrument, the mouse chew instrument, came two 3/4 violins, and I have done them completely up. They came with no bridge, no strings, no nothing, basically, and I've completely redone them. I put up a sound post. I think it was in this one. Cut a new sound post for it, and pretty decent little student grade instruments. And I ordered a couple of cases for it. Got a couple of cheap bows. And I'm going to go ahead and turn these around and rent them. So there's a couple of little 3/4. The guy who gave me these thought one of them was a full size, and he was going to have me restore it. And when I told him it was 3/4, he said, "No, just keep it." So that's what I did. So I got both of these in order. Here's the other one over here, another 3/4, and did the same thing with this. Brand new bridge, new strings. New tailpiece, new case, new bow, you know, some cheap rosin. Anyway, got everything all done up. So I got a couple of real nice little units here. I've never rented anything before in terms of violins, but this is too good to be true. And I'm going to go ahead and probably see if I can't rent these out. There's a couple of 3/4, just really nice student grade violins. Actually, they're a little better than student grade. This one is made in Bolivia, I believe. Not Bolivia, what I'm going to say is it's made in Czechoslovakia. And then this one over here is a nice little West German Strad. And not a cheaply made instrument. Pretty nicely made. Really, you know, it's a very plain maple back. But anyway, that's it for the 3/4. Next thing I got, and this is what I spent some time on, because I mean I always get excited. My very first violin was a full-size German Stradivari copy, and when I saw this one come in, I said, you know what, I'm gonna do some work on this. And it was missing this corner. It was broken off badly, way back into the plate on the top. And I completely replaced that. I don't know if you can even tell now that I replaced that, but that's a brand new corner to match up with everything else that's on this violin. A lot of work went into that. New sound post, new bridge, strings. I refurbished a chin rest over here. Brand new nut. The nut was missing, and I made a new nut here. And used the original pegs. They were in pretty decent shape, so I went ahead and used those. But anyway, pretty nice little instrument. And boy, I was so pleased when I heard the sound on this. It's got a big voice. It's kind of typical of some German Strads. They tend to have a really big voice, but nothing wolfy. Just really nice Nice quality sound, really good on the low end. Anyway, like I said, refurbished all this, put in some new a new felt pad there, new corks on the top up here underneath the chin rest. Anyway, really nice German Strad copy. And by the way, they have it says Stradivari copy inside, made in Germany, but it says Stradivari copy. They don't try to pass it off as a, one of the fakey, original Stradivari 1725 or whatever. No, this is just, it says Stradivari copy, and nicely done. Not quite as red as my first one, but my first one I just dearly loved, and I used it forever. When I was in Maynard's Old Time Fiddlers, that's when I was learning to play, and I got into classical stuff later. But anyway, just thought I might share this with you. Kind of neat to get a nice old instrument. And boy, when I played this last night for the first time, that's so exciting. When you have an instrument that has had its voice silenced for so many years. There was nothing on this instrument, no sound post, no bridge, no strings, no nothing. It was basically stripped, including the nut. There was no nut on it, so I had to redo everything. And boy, when I played that for the first time, I said, "Wow, kind of neat." Anyway, I'll probably tack on a little playing section at the end of this video, and we'll call it quits for this one. So. I have no idea how this is going to come out because I've never tried playing music on a video before. But anyway, this is the violin I was talking about earlier. It's the German Strad copy. And anyway, I was going to just play two songs. The first one is called The Wind or the Green. I wrote it when I was living up on Cornhill over in Pittsford, Vermont. And centuries ago, about 150 years ago, this elderly lady died upstairs, and her disease was so bad, whatever it was, I think the Black Plague, whatever, they let her out the window in a sheet and buried her right beside the house in an unmarked grave. And when we were living there, I was going along the back of the house one day, and I found a pair of gold-rimmed glasses coming up through the soil. It was a little eerie, and we were sitting there one night, but this house was wicked, windy, leaky, and we're sitting there one night, and I heard the wind coming up across the cornfields and up around the corners of the house, and I just thought, kind of these haunting thoughts, and I wrote this song called The Wind or the Green, and it's kind of reminiscent of the whole feeling of being there that night. So, hey, wish me well. I haven't played in a long time. We'll see how that goes. Well, I just listened to it. That was horrible. I'll let it stand just because I don't feel like doing this all night. I'm going to do one more song. It's called Autumn Air, as in a song. An air is a song. And it was a beautiful, beautiful fall while living on Cornhill. And I was out back one day, and this just beautiful autumn breezes blowing across the the landscape, and the fall color is just glorious. And so I just wrote this song. It's called Autumn Air. So, and by the way, from what I'm listening to, the violin sounds terribly nasally in the recordings. It's not, which is kind of disconcerting. You probably have to have a whole lot better recording system than my stupid cell phone. But let me give it a shot. We'll see how that goes. That's it for my bad playing. So that's it. I just wanted to share a little bit about violin stuff with you this evening and this afternoon, when I did all the stuff about the different violins that I'm working on. And hope you find it interesting. So, all right. Thanks a lot. Bye. One last thing about this violin. A little bit of what I call fiddle archaeology. This instrument almost certainly was used as a fiddle, not as a violin. By the way, the fiddle and violin are one and the same instrument. There's not a lick of difference between them. But when I began to work on this violin and cleaning it and so forth, this was virtually black here, right between the bridge and the end of the fingerboard, where all your rosin collects. When you've been playing for a long time, rosin dust falls off the strings, off from the bow, and collects right there between the bridge and the end of the fingerboard. And what takes place over a long period of time, if somebody doesn't clean it, doesn't dust all that off and apply cleaner once in a while, I make my own cleaner, by the way, but if they don't do that, what happens is over a long period of time, it turns virtually black. And that right there that you're looking at, I'm going to pull back a little bit so you can see it. That was almost black. I mean, you can see the edges of it right there and over there, and even a little bit here toward the back of that of the bridge. But that was just caked with blackened rosin from over the years. And I did many applications of very fine steel wool. And my cleaner that I use, I call it Wake Polish, because I got the formula out of an old violin repair book. Anyway, that's almost a certainty that this was used as a fiddle. And the cool thing about that is that it was played a lot. And when you play an instrument a lot, it gets richer and sweeter with tone the more you play it. That was the case with my old violin, my old first German Strad that I had. And, I love that thing. I ended up selling it because I had to have money to pay my taxes on my house. And I don't want to talk about it. Anyway, okay, a little bit of fiddle archaeology there. And hope you enjoy it. And that'll be one little extra plug-in on this video. By the way, I found the rest of the mouse chew violin, and just wanted you to see this. You can see what he did. That mouse got a hold of the edge of that F-hole, and he just chewed the daylights out of it until it was big enough for him to crawl right through that hole. He got inside there, and he built a nest and chewed on the bass bar. He just had a wonderful time. It was just one nice little home for him for a while. Needless to say, I emptied all the nesting and the mouse poop out of it, but I think this is the only violin I've ever seen that had a mouse living inside of it at one point.